Hey there, Spartan fans. It's James Katsunika back here for another edition of the Michigan State Spartans Insiders podcast. 42-40 win over Boston College the other day. Back here the day after the game, as the time of this podcast being recorded. So obviously, after a win, we're going to be staying on the more positive sides of that game here today, focusing on which players probably improved their stock within the team after that week two victory over the Boston College Eagles, getting a really nice revenge win after falling in Chestnut Hill last year, 23-19, heartbreaker. Boston College game-winning drive in the final 2 minutes. First things first, I think we need to give a shout out to Aiden Childs. Simple as that. Probably his best game as a Spartan. 5 total touchdowns, 4 of them through the air, 231 passing yards on 29 attempts, 19 completions. Got another rushing touchdown. Got that on the ground. That was during overtime, and then he obviously had the really nice throw to end it, the game-winning 2-point conversion to Amari Kelly. We'll talk about more on him in a couple minutes. But that was kind of the Aiden Childs everyone had kind of been dreaming about ever since he officially announced that he would be following Jonathan Smith to East Lansing from Oregon State. You saw him flash it so many times last year, but you never really saw him just put it all together during a game like the Maryland game. When they won that game, that was another thrilling week two victory. You saw him hit the deep ball to Nick Marsh, but then you also saw the couple of picks. He had a fumble in that game against Maryland as well, a couple of turnovers that were costly, but 5 total touchdowns, no turnovers for Childs here in this one. He made some really good plays with his legs, extending plays, had a couple of long rushes where the crowd just went insane. It's been a game that everyone's been waiting on him to just prove it and show that he can be what everyone has been kind of putting him on that pedestal for. And, that was just masterful work. He never really put the ball in harm's way. Did his best that he was dealing with a lot of pressure as well. Got sacked 4 times as well. I mean, that's going to be another thing they need to improve on, protection of Childs. But best game as a Spartan, if you ask me. I'm sure a lot of people would agree. Maybe Childs would agree. But really big game for him after kind of a sleepier week one game where he had about 150 passing yards, only 1 touchdown, had a fumble. But here against a stronger opponent, I really do think Boston College played quite well. This game could have just as easily have gone to the Eagles, but the Spartans made just a couple more plays. The other guy that really showed he didn't really show who he is, but you already knew who he was. Nick Marsh, 2 touchdowns, 5 receptions, 68 yards. Had a big game in week two last year, brought up the Maryland game. Not quite the stat line he had in that one, but still 2 touchdowns, 68 receiving yards after, again, he wasn't utilized a ton against Western Michigan last week. Had the receiving touchdown, but you didn't really see him go downfield a whole lot. He got downfield today, had the really long touchdown, 41 yards. That was on the opening drive of the second half. And again, Nick Marsh is Nick Marsh. We already knew how good he was, but he against a really good opponent, against a team that you knew was going to probably zero in on him a little bit, he was still able to find a way to make plays down the field. Talk about Amari Kelly a little bit. Had an interesting game, up and down, about kind of a full circle moment. I don't know if I'd say his stock necessarily went out for the simple fact that he fumbled twice in the first quarter of this game. Muffed that little punt return. No, he didn't muff it. He caught it and then he fumbled on the return. And he had that really weird play where he got the end around, I think, and tried to hurdle someone, did not work, and he kind of like threw the ball forward, 10 yards forward by accident. Really wonky play. But still, very productive day for him. As a receiver, got targeted 5 times, caught 4 of them, 60 yards, and obviously he made the game-winning play. He was able to get open on the 2-point conversion. I really like that play call from Brian Lindgren, by the way. Just some nice little, just classic misdirection. You have Childs roll out to the right, and then you just see Omari Kelly just get open in that left corner of the end zone. A great throw from Childs to put it right on the money, make it really easy for Kelly to just haul it in on a basket catch. But still, we have some other players to shout out. Jordan Hall. He's had a real interesting career at Michigan State. Came here during the Mel Tucker era, was a regular player as a true freshman. stuck around even with the coaching change, and didn't play nearly as much as a lot of people might have thought. Was more of a backup role as a linebacker last year. Only started one game. Obviously, comes back this year. He's a starter and a captain, and he's instantly proving why. 15 tackles for him. That's a career high, and also got credited for the forced fumble at the beginning of the game where Boston College running back Turbo Richard fumbled the ball trying to extend it to the goal line at the 1 yard line. Again, that's one of those plays where if that doesn't happen, I'm probably sitting here recapping, probably a 35-30 Boston College victory. We don't know how the game's going to go after that, but it would have probably put 7 points on the board for Boston College after Omari Kelly's lost fumble. And if Jordan Hall's just a tick late, that's probably going to lead to a Boston College touchdown. So a really big day for Jordan Hall. He spent all over the field in both games here in this season. And he's a junior. He'll be eligible for the NFL draft after this year. It's going to be kind of interesting to see what people think about his draft stock, but he's a real good football player, I'll tell you what. Next guy I want to talk about really is a guy who a lot of people might not. I wouldn't say it's easy to forget, but when you have a overtime game where this part of the game gets thrown out of the equation, it's the kick returns. Alante Brown had two amazing kick returns, took one to about the 40-yard line of MSU, and then had the really big one, says it was 63 yards, ran it all the way down to about the Boston College 35 or 30, somewhere in that range. Gave his offense a short field, just big time stuff from him. Again, he's been around for a while. He's played a lot of college football. Not really a guy who gets a lot of snaps at wide receiver, but he gets his opportunities now as a kick return. He really made the most of it. So really got to give credit to Alante Brown on that one for finding a way to help his team out, make a play. We'll keep the theme of special teams going here in a minute. Without special teams, Michigan State doesn't win this game, even with the turnover on special teams. Next guy up is probably the best college punter in America, Ryan Eckley. 3 punts for him, 164 yards. All three of them end up inside the 20-yard line. Two of them go down at the 1 yard line, and he had one as long as 60 yards. I don't pay attention to punters too much all around the country, but this guy has to be the best. He just had, if he doesn't win the Ray Guy Award, the guy who does better have a really good case. Obviously, the Ray Guy Award goes to the best punter in America, but Ryan Eckley is a heck of a story, Comes in here, kind of learns from Bryce Behringer for a year now, who's now in the NFL, and he comes out and just kind of keeps the theme of MSU generating elite punters. I don't know what it is about MSU's development of punters, but it's I wouldn't say it's at the level of Iowa, but it's right up there. I mean, Eckley's Ryan Eckley. He's almost he's pretty much a weapon for this team at this point. But again, the other thing is you have Martin Connington. We have a kicker now. Blake Sisler did great with the PATs. We never saw him kick a field goal, but obviously going into camp, it was pretty obvious that the starting kicking job was going to come down to either Connington for, as far as recruits go at kicker, was a pretty big recruit, or Tarek Ahmet Basic. Ahmet Basic still dealing with a bit of an injury, but Connington was good enough to go here in this one. And he delivered, man. It's his first ever college game. I mean, I can't imagine what was going through his head when he came out there to try a 50-yard field goal, third quarter of a game, tight one. You're on national television. Again, you've never played in college before. You've only watched from the sidelines or watched it on TV. And he just goes out there and booms a 50-yarder like it's nothing. It had plenty of leg, Jonathan Smith was kind of laughing about it. Like, I didn't know you could just boom those, But he made it from 50, and it had the distance for 55 or more. Plenty of distance. He looked experienced. And also had the big 39-yarder as well. That gave Michigan State the lead with about 40 minutes to go in regulation, obviously. We went to overtime from there, but most kickers in their first ever game are probably missing at least one of those two kicks, but Connington The Idaho native is able to deliver for Michigan State here in that one. But that's all I've got for you here today. Thank you for tuning in to the Michigan State Spartans Insiders podcast. I'm Jacob Katzanika, and I'll see you guys around.